Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Rhyme of the Times for the week ending 21st of October 2023. Two hostages are freed and Guterres succeeds in getting Israel to accede to addressing Gazan needs, while many plead for a ceasefire to be agreed and Biden and Sunak try to intercede. In Brussels, a gunman proceeds to kill two Swedes. The Russian weed sates his need to see Ukrainians bleed. Tories concede two big leads as their election hopes recede. Bobby Charlton had skill and speed and was a gentleman indeed. His legacy is guaranteed. South of Gaza, a stationary motorcade stayed. 20 lorries in a parade loaded with aid, waiting for Israel to end its blockade. All week in Egypt, there they stayed, still delayed. The UN Secretary General then made a stand. On Friday he took matters into his own hands. Standing at the Rafah gate where the lorries waited, he was clearly emotional and very frustrated. He claimed all parties knew exactly what to do. Stop the bombardment and let the trucks come through. On Saturday morning the wagons finally rolled. Maybe Guterres' pressure had finally told. Or maybe the two US hostages being freed had caused the Israelis to finally accede. A mother and daughter now homeward bound, released by Hamas on humanitarian grounds. Israel's air raids continued with ferocity, bombing Gaza with collateral atrocities. Tuesday's hospital blast, was that the IDF? They say that it wasn't, but Arab ears are deaf. Israel says the missile came from Islamic Jihad, a projectile misfired from a Gaza launch pad. Al-Ahli Baptist Hospital had been severely damaged. Now the information war had to be managed. On Tuesday, when it happened, there was claim and counterclaim. The BBC assumed Israel was to blame. They quickly rode back, but the damage was done. For Palestinians, a narrative was already spun. And for Israel, it was spinning out of control. Worldwide anti-Israel sentiment took hold. Biden had flown in to talk to leaders of key nations to try to prevent military escalation. But after the hospital bomb, there was no way an Arab head could rub shoulders with the USA. A situation that Biden could not redeem once he had blamed the bomb on the other team. He was jet-lagged and probably didn't mean to have such a tragedy so demeaned, making a misfired missile that landed miles short sound more like a poor shot on a basketball court. So after less than a day he was back on the plane, back across the Atlantic from where he came. And then Sunak went over to have a go, gave support to Israel, but also tried to show that Britain was friends with the whole Middle East, wanting the Gaza siege ended and long-term peace. On Monday night in Belgium, a guy with a gun shot dead two Swedes and then went on the run. The Islamic State poodle was hunted down next day, finally martyred by police in a Brussels cafe. It was 4 days after an Islamic zealot with a knife entered a school in France and took a teacher's life. Meanwhile, America has put out a worldwide alert to help stop their expats being killed, kidnapped or hurt. With the world's eyes focused on the Gaza Strip, the Kremlin coward took a sneaky back-alley trip. On Tuesday, Putin went to visit Xi Jinping, knowing his old China would not dob him in. The ICC's arrest warrant they have out on him won't be activated by the likes of Xi or Kim. Europeans showed little diplomatic decorum, leaving while Putin addressed Xi's Belt and Road Forum. Russian hypocrisy was clearly too much to bear, hypocrisy which at the UN had been laid bare. On Monday, Russia had proposed a Gaza ceasefire, For humanity, peace was what they desired. Their resolution opposed indiscriminate killing, a statement as laughable as it was chilling. And on Saturday, Russia proved it was just talking shit as a Kharkiv postal depot was randomly hit. 6 dead, 17 injured, some severely. Putin's real thoughts on the sanctity of life shown clearly. Labour on Thursday had 2 good by-elections, so Conservatives can probably say goodbye election. Tamworth and Mid-Beds ripped from Tories' grasp. The swings to Labour were eye-wateringly fast. It's looking like a repeat of the last days of Major in '97 when Rishi was still a teenager. How much was the toxicity of Pincher and Dorries the cause of these 2 thumpings for the Tories? It can't explain, though, such seismic shifting, demonstrating how the Tories appeared to be drifting. So Labour are toasting, Tories being toast. Complacency is what they must now fear most. On Monday, Peter Bone was torn off a strip. Stripped to the bone. He lost the Tory whip. He maintains resignation is not his intention, and accusations of bullying are a bone of contention. The parliamentary watchdog has recommended suspension. Coming next could be yet another by-election. On Thursday, a whole town was evacuated as Storm Babette had much of Britain saturated. Riverbanks burst, everywhere was leaking in the Scottish east coastal town of Brechin. On Saturday, Sir Bobby Charlton passed away, a household name from the 50s to the present day. Rising from the tragic Munich air crash ashes, he played 758 Man U matches. Elegant on the pitch, a gentleman off it, ahead of his time like a footballing prophet. Part of the Holy Trinity with Law and Best, and part of England's only World Cup success. At 86, dementia has laid him to rest.